We are wrestling.
Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Let's flip and go.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. Ben here, one half of the We Are Wrestling podcast.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with.
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs worldwide. Ben here, one half of the We Are Wrestling podcast. And today we got a pretty stacked fucking show for you guys. A lot of cool shit coming out, a lot of good rumors, and a lot of future shake-ins in the world of wrestling. But before we get into all that, Don, take it away, my dude.
That's right. We have a pretty solid week with, some solid wrestling topics. I feel like in the wrestling world, nothing crazy happened. It's been, just a nice, steady, relaxing, week in the wrestling world. It feels like we got some pretty cool topics we're going to be diving into. But before we do that, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review. Not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. But if you haven't checked out the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know the grind is real. Yeah, boy. I was waiting for that. Yeah, boy. But over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, we hit 5,000 subscribers this week. How do you feel, Ben?
It's an accomplishment, man, and it's always crazy to see your product grow, and it's like nurturing a child. Every time you see it grow, you're just so fucking proud because you put so much work into it, and to see it just, finally go on its legs and go on its own and start to kind of build itself, it's incredible. It's always a fun feeling, and here's to 10K.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, from 4,000 to 5,000, it felt like it took forever, but we're finally there. I'm glad we reached the 5K before the end of 2023.
Yeah,
and
man.
Guys, because of that, over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, we posted the MJF Try Not to Laugh 2, which I do want to put a disclaimer out to all the listeners out there. If you're going to react to it, please give We Are Wrestling credit for, the video. That's all we ask. Because obviously, with the Try Not to Laugh compilations over on YouTube, we can't monetize it. And yeah, the first time we got in a little bit of trouble with that. So we're not trying to get on YouTube's bad side. And we also do have the Big Event New York vlog, which came out yesterday. So if you guys want to go check that out, highly recommend it. Such a great time. And yeah, you can even check out my interaction with Paul London during it, because you guys all saw the birthday thing with Ben last week on the show. But there's a whole nother interaction that is over on the vlog. So highly recommend you guys to go check that out.
Hell yeah, man. I'm stoked to check it out. It sounds like a good time, man.
Last week, if you have not listened to the podcast, we announced that We Are Wrestling, we're going to be having a exclusive Patreon account for all the diehard We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there. We're going to be having different tiers. We're going to be having exclusive content, bonus podcasts.
Exclusive.
Lots of awesome stuff. Not that kind of exclusive.
Oh, I can't show my titties? Okay.
That's for your OnlyFans account, Ben.
Hey,
But
my OnlyFans is literally just a bunch of fans. It's OnlyFans, but with fans.
I see. So, like, are we talking about like the fans that like?
Yeah, like
love
window fans, desk fans, air conditioners, all the fans.
all the fans? I have a small one on my desk.
You can't sleep without it, no matter how fucking cold it is.
And one of the exclusive series over on, the Patreon page, which will be launching January 1st, 2024. Old School versus New School is coming back. Phil and I, we're going to be doing it, and it's going to be a great time.
I'm very excited for that, too. I'm really
And
excited for that.
the first episode will be coming out hopefully the first week of January. And we're going to be talking about some of, the greatest finishers in the business. What's different about old school finishers and new school finishers. So definitely something to stay tuned for.
That does sound like a pretty good time, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, we got a lot of things cooking up, man, behind the scenes.
Yeah. I'm fucking stoked, man. I'm really stoked to check it out.
Yes, sir. And we also will be having, a lot of other, announcements coming out throughout the month of December, hyping up, the Patreon account. And I hope you guys are excited and you guys are ready. But Ben, every week we do this here on the podcast. What is your highlight of the week?
Shit. That's actually fuck. That's like a hard question for once. and not like hard because there's nothing going on. It's just hard because there's so much going on. There's so fucking much going on, and I'm just like, wow.
Wow.
I think my highlight of the week would probably, I gotta say, Randy Orton signing to SmackDown, because it could mean so many things, and not even just Randy. I think they're starting Cody's story as well. I think that low key they're connecting the two. So I'm really, really excited for that. But that's a hot take. Obviously there's like no rumors of it. There's no speculation. I just personally, that's what I think. And Randy just looks yoked as fuck. So I'm just like, my God, we're going to see like another 10 years of the Viper, man, the legend killer, the Apex Predator.
10 years.
10 fucking years, man. I'm so excited about it. And like I said, receipts for the bloodline, every single member. His RKO to fucking Nick Aldis was just chef's kiss, man. And it felt like ruthless aggression again, with contract signings, with GMs, with drafts, and fucking the promises of what you could do if you stayed on SmackDown. Yes. And that's exactly what made it so thrilling for me. And I think that I'm really feeling the Triple H essence now. Like, we're not settled in. We're not, in like the development area. No, we're fucking in it now. And I can genuinely feel the nostalgia, dude. And that one segment really reminded me as to why I loved it so much. And we're going to get into that in one of our topics coming up. But I just wanted to say it was my highlight of the week, but I'll go in further after.
It's the little things.
It really fucking is.
It's always the little things. And like when I think every wrestling promotion, it's always the little things that are missing, and like general managers, that exactly, Ben, was my highlight of the week as well.
Yeah.
Because it felt like ruthless aggression all over again when you have this free agent that came from WCW or something, and then they would, try to fight to get them on their exclusive brand. And it just felt so nostalgia, and it made Randy Orton feel important, because I know I've been hearing a lot of things the last couple weeks, because a lot of people were upset that, CM Punk's return kind of, foreshadowed Randy Orton's return. And I'm going to be completely honest here. I don't think so, because I think both of these returns have been so huge. And you can tell that right now WWE's got a lot of momentum. And Randy Orton on SmackDown felt so important. Having both Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, fighting for him. Then Paul Heyman comes out. It was perfect.
To add to what you said about, CM Punk's fucking return potentially overshadowing Randy's,
it
I
did
don't
not
think so at all.
Overshadow it.
One, they were both super fucking happy to see each other, and you could see it bouncing off at Survivor Series when Randy was sitting down, he was doing this shit, and then fucking CM Punk's doing Randy's fucking pose at the ramp, and you could tell it was just a very together moment, but it felt separate in its own entity. Both got massive pops. It's a wonderful time to be a WWE fan, man. It really fucking is. And I don't understand why anybody's really mad here because this is a really great fucking thing. We got nothing but nostalgia. CM Punk is back in WWE. Why aren't we fucking like overjoyed and like making the world a better place now?
Yeah, and it's all positive news too.
Fucking is, and apparently it's a warm reception. I mean, minus a few like what the fuck people that are still getting over their shit, and I understand that
Seth Rollins.
Yes, I wasn't gonna name any fucking names, but here we go. It's a good thing all around, and I'm really excited about it, man.
Yeah, no, me too, and I think that what a perfect time for this, and
Couldn't be any better.
that is definitely, my highlight of the week as well. I got to go
Thank
with,
you.
Randy Orton on SmackDown last Friday. That was fantastic. But with that being said, let's dive into the We Are Wrestling weekly recap for the We Are Wrestling Podcast 86.
Yeah.
And speaking of our highlight of the week, last Friday, Randy Orton had to choose Raw or SmackDown and decided to sign with the blue brand. What's your thoughts on Orton being on the SmackDown brand?
Man, it feels like home. Orton became a star on SmackDown. He really did. Like, he did big shit on Raw. He won the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. Whatever.
Youngest.
Exactly. Youngest. He made history. He was part of one of the greatest stables of all time. Literally the head of that stable is literally the head of the fucking company now. So I'm like, dude, or creative rather. Dude, yes, Randy became a star and had some of the greatest feuds on the blue brand. So to have the Legend Killer back on that brand doing some Legend Killery shit and some Viper shit, yeah, it's exciting. And it has purpose. It has substance. It doesn't just feel random. Like, we're adding to the storylines and picking up where we left off a little bit. And I'm really excited for what that means in the future because obviously there are more Bloodline members than there are Randy Orton, no matter how great he is. So what does that mean for backup? We got likely LA Knight.
Yeah.
100%, LA Knight, which I think we saw on Friday.
He did. He came to the
He came out. My God, the pop.
Every time he punched Solo. Yeah,
dude. I fucking love it. So there's that tease. There's a potential Cody Rhodes going to SmackDown eventually, which we're kind of already getting the feeling
it's gonna happen
of.
For Mania season.
It will. Now. And what's a better way to further the story than through Randy Orton and the Bloodline story? And we're already going into WrestleMania season. We're on the road.
And I kind of called it last week on the podcast. I think realistically, somehow, some way at the Rumble, we all know it's going to be Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. That's what they're building for. And honestly, that is a perfect Royal Rumble match because obviously with Randy Orton's accolades, he's a first-class Hall of Famer and one of the greatest of all time in this business, going against, somebody that, we are not a fan of his reign, but we would be lying if we, didn't say that right now he's doing some legendary shit when it comes to, his title run.
And that's going to be a hell of a match.
I don't like him as a part-timer. He's still, doing some legendary shit that we're going to be looking back at 10 years from now and acknowledging.
You also have to remember WWE is full of fucking hypocrisy. I mean, John Cena's...
But here's
you
the
have
thing,
to remember, though.
But here's what I wanted to say, though.
But with the hypocrisy, though, John Cena became everything that he called out The Rock for, and Roman became everything he hated Brock for. So, I mean, it's nothing but hypocrisy. It's business, but it's hypocrisy.
But I do think, like, WrestleMania, it's probably going to be Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa. I think that they're building for that.
What makes you indicate that?
Because Randy Orton obviously said he has a receipt for, the Bloodline, and I think that Solo Sikoa, he's going to cost Randy, the championship against Roman at the Rumble. And I think that that's what we're going to build towards Mania because obviously Jimmy's going to fight Jay. There's no question about that. So Solo, that leaves him, with the open, storyline for Mania. And I think LA Knight realistically is going to go against Logan Paul. I
think that too. I realistically can see that more so happening at Elimination Chamber before I see it happening at WrestleMania. It just does not feel like a marquee match. I'm sorry. I love Solo. I think he's great. I think that, he's world champion one day.
And what better way to push him than have, Randy put him over on the biggest stage.
Maybe not the biggest stage, though. It does not feel like, I'm saying this very prematurely, and I could be wrong. And like I said, I've never been, one to not really
I think both of us, we'll
You
admit
know,
when we're wrong.
yeah, well, I'll willingly admit when I'm wrong, but I just personally right now in this, like in real time, it doesn't feel like a marquee match setting until some bigger shit happens down the road. So again, I might be wrong, but that's just kind of where I stand right now.
Let Triple H cook, baby.
I always let that motherfucker, dude. I don't question shit now. I don't question shit, dude. I let it cook. I let it 100% cook now. Like I'm even like when CM Punk came back, I was completely composed. Like I was literally like the whole time I'm like, hey, he comes back, fucking sweet. If not, we're good.
It is what it is.
It was a phenomenal show regardless. But boom, it happened, and I'm like, I am willing to believe anything can happen now.
So now getting back into Randy Orton on SmackDown, I do want to give my thoughts on that.
Hell yeah.
I think that the Blue Brand, they need Randy Orton. Raw is just stacked. So if you had, Randy Orton on there, that's just adding more, which you don't really need Randy on there. SmackDown does need some star power, and
CM Punk,
especially going into the Royal Rumble, what better way than, to have Randy and, Roman Reigns for that, premier live event. I think that that's a perfect, world championship match.
Do you think potentially at Rumble we're going to see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Nope. They are going to wait. I think that we're probably realistically going to get some type of like fatal 4-way match or something for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when we get into Drew McIntyre's topic.
Okay.
Which, is there anything else you have to say about Randy Orton to SmackDown?
I'm excited. That's about it. That's all I can really say is I'm excited. It's been a long time since Randy's been on SmackDown. And I've noticed that he operates differently on the Blue Brand, and again with substance, it's great.
Red Brand, he's cocky. SmackDown, he's a killer.
Yep. He's
But
just
now,
an asshole.
Let's dive into, Drew McIntyre and Monday Night Raw. So our next topic, this past Monday on Raw, Drew McIntyre completely lost it. After Drew beat Sami Zayn, he assaulted him backstage.
Oh, he beat the shit out of that boy.
Seth Rollins match with Jey Uso, which, Rollins retained the World Heavyweight Championship, Drew attacked both men. What's next for Drew McIntyre with this, incredible heel run we're getting with him so far?
A rematch against Seth.
I think that's what they're cooking up.
And then a heel Drew McIntyre title run. Because
I don't think it's happening, not yet.
I think it might, only for the simple fact that the dude, I don't even know, has even re-signed with the company yet, and that's a big indicator. And obviously, if he wants to stick around, he's going to make his demands, and that could be one of them. So, and again, Triple H, I am never going to opt that out. I will never take that off the table now, because with Triple H in charge, dude, yeah. And like they don't see people holding, the title for super long amount of time anymore, especially with Roman. That he knows that the fans are sick of it. So then so just think Seth will drop it sooner than later.
So here's what I think is going to happen. Now that, we are talking about Drew McIntyre, I think Royal Rumble, it probably is realistically going to be Seth Rollins versus Drew. But here's what I think. Before you, say what you're going to say, I think that it's going to be a fatal 4-way match. I think it's going to be Seth Rollins defending the title against Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn in a fatal 4-way. Okay, what were you going to say?
I could see that happening. But if at Royal Rumble, if Seth were to drop it, I could also see this happening. Seth drops it, Drew wins it, cue Judgment Day's music. Cash in. Damian Priest steals it, feud.
Damn, that's a real possibility too.
It's sorry. It just like my brain was operating on a different level for a second there, so it's just like I needed to say it. Anyways,
so
continue.
Here's obviously like what I think is going to happen when it comes to CM Punk and Seth Rollins. I think that it's going to be WrestleMania. Realistically, they're going to wait for that match because there's so much animosity there. There's so much money to be made there. And obviously, they're not going to waste it on, the Rumble. They're not going to waste it on, a normal episode of Monday Night Raw. I think that they're going to wait until Mania, whether CM Punk wins the Rumble or like maybe a number one contenders match at the Chamber. I think that they're going to find some way to make Punk, versus Rollins happen
Wait a minute.
for the championship.
Wait a minute. You said that gimmick fucking pay-per-views are over now, right?
Gimmick pay-per-views for the most part are over, except
So is Money in the Bank going to be like a match again and like at WrestleMania again?
Nope, it's still one of the big five.
Oh, it's considered a big five now?
Well, technically, that's what I always
Shit.
thought you considered it a big five, because you always
Oh,
say
shit.
the big five instead of the big four.
I thought it was the big four. Or regardless of the fact.
1 week we're saying the big four, another week we're saying the big five. I
Fuck
consider
you.
Money in the Bank a big five. I do.
Okay. Yeah, because it's some life-changing shit. But when does that take place?
Money in the Bank, I think, is in the summer. I think.
Okay, well, Damien's got not a lot of time to cash that bitch in now. He's had it for a while.
I could
so.
see, CM Punk beating Rollins at Mania and then Priest cashing it in on Punk, and that could start a whole feud.
I don't know what the fuck they're thinking with Priest and this Money in the Bank shit at this point.
Yeah, dude, I don't know
fuck.
what they're doing with him. Honestly.
I'm sorry we're getting off topic, but I
know.
needed to know. I needed to know.
All I know is Drew McIntyre, I'd love for this man to, do something with Damian Priest. And I wouldn't, like what you said, I wouldn't be against that, honestly. Cash in on Drew, and then that can, create a feud there.
Yeah.
But then again, having the world title, that's money there with Rollins and Punk. So, but they don't need a title also to feud. So
no, the story is already
just
thick as fucking butter.
There's so many ways that this can go, and this is why I love Triple H's creative, because like there's just so many directions that this can go in. And I think that Triple H, he really understands the business. He wants us to be sitting here doing a podcast, thinking about all of what plan A is to like what plan Z is.
Yeah.
Triple H, man, he's a genius, because not only is he doing compelling, great angles and storylines and putting on good, consistent television shows, he's also having all of us diehard maniacs,
We're talking about it.
Talking about all of this. And that is huge when it comes to wrestling.
Gigantic.
But now let's get into AEW Dynamite. This past Wednesday, we saw a miracle happen. Roderick Strong is standing. He's out of the wheelchair. What's your thoughts on this whole neck strong thing that Roderick Strong's been doing the past couple months?
I think it's different. It definitely feels like an Attitude Era kind of gimmick. Like it definitely like has like this like very good feel. Like this is one of those things that I feel like is being done right. So I think it's funny. I think it's really funny. However, I have been considering the fact about the whole like devil thing, and I really have considered the fact that it could be fucking Adam Cole and the boys, if you know what I mean. Fucking
I
Kyle
swear, this
O'Reilly,
past
Bobby
Wednesday
Fish.
when the little ninjas were around the ring, I thought one of them looked like Kyle O'Reilly.
That's what I'm saying. Kyle
Because
O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish,
if
bro.
you watched one of the masked men moving around, like Kyle O'Reilly, you've watched like his body movement, it had that same movement.
That's what I'm saying, man. It could be the Undisputed Era, and fucking they're gonna turn
Bobby
on
Fish
MJF.
is back.
So I'm saying. So I think it's gonna make sense now.
Yeah, so with Roderick Strong, I gotta say, I love this whole neck strong character.
Neck strong.
It's goofy, but it's working.
It is working.
It's so marketable. Like on Wednesday, this was so close to being my highlight of the week.
Oh, oh Lord.
He's up in the stage in his wheelchair with Renee. And
Okay.
before he's ready to talk, because he does this whole Adam
Yeah.
thing. So now the crowd, for like, I think a solid like 15 to 20 seconds before the man could speak, they all scream, Adam! And Renee Young is just waiting for the crowd to shut up, because like you had like one side of the crowd going Adam, and then when it got to like
God,
the other side of the crowd would go Adam.
That's fucking hilarious.
And then, dude, it was such a miracle seeing him finally get out of that wheelchair and push it off the stage and say he's back. I love it. Love it.
Hey man, it's a feel good segment, and I'm always for those.
And also too, like I highly recommend, because obviously a lot of We Are Wrestling Maniacs do not watch AEW Collision, and I watched the highlights myself. There's this funny clip where it comes to Roderick Strong. He jumped over a wrestler and like he pretty much got out of his wheelchair. He kneed like a wrestler right in the jaw, and then
Ooh.
he rolled out of the ring to get back on his wheelchair because he's hurt.
Yeah.
And then he tripped over his wheelchair.
Oh God.
And then like the commentators, like that's the best part about this whole thing is like the commentators, they sell it perfectly. They're pretty much like, "Oh my God, it's a miracle."
Hell yeah.
The stuff that he does for Next Strong. It's fantastic. But
Mm-mm.
God, I love it. It's great. But moving on now to our last, weekly recap topic. This past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, Christian Cage defeated Adam Copeland with the help of Nick Wayne's mom. What's your thoughts on this swerve angle happening?
Like, I'm sorry, like it was weird seeing her come out, and you're just like, oh shit, what's going on? But then you could kind of see like where it was going because it was just sold horribly.
Yes.
I liked where it came from. I liked where we were at. I liked it felt good. It made sense because regardless of the fact you can chair toad baby boy in front of her, she's gonna retaliate regardless. It's not a Christian thing. It's a fucking Nick Wayne thing. And I feel like it was more of like a mama bear moment, as cringe as it was. That's how it felt. If they do end up doing something with Christian there, if you know what I mean, I guess, we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. But I feel like that's kind of where the angle where we're going at is. But the match itself was brilliant.
Again.
What's up?
Why does this whole mother-son, son-father stuff work in wrestling in 2023? Because
Christian made it that way, man. That's the only.
No, it goes all the way back to Dirty Dom and Ray.
Oh yeah, fucking at SummerSlam with over the custody shit. Yeah,
even though like the Dominic and the Ray stuff is the best, like this Nick Wayne stuff, like I really don't think it's that bad at all. Like I'm actually enjoying the segments and stuff, and like
Nick's not bad too. Nick's a good seller.
AEW to continue to do more of these compelling storylines. This is how you're going to get people to watch your show every week.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do, and this is one of those things where it's like, I can't wait to fucking see what happens next.
Now, Nick Wayne's mom, she didn't sell it well.
It's got it going on.
I will say this: it was a really cool swerve to see because
it's been a while.
More sense. It's been a while since we've gotten one of these, and I like how Adam put over Christian in this, and
in the first match that they've had together in years.
And so, obviously, we all know AEW World's End. We're going to be getting Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, and we're going to be there for it. So,
and I think Edge is going to
furthering the storyline.
Yeah, I think they're definitely gonna drag it out because it's only a couple weeks away. So, because that's the next pay-per-view for them, right?
That is the next pay-per-view.
Nice. I'm excited, man.
So, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs for AEW World's End, unfortunately, there will be no live watch-along because Ben and I, how the hell can we do it if we're going to be there in Long Island, New York? The most magical place in the world. But up next, we have the Comment of the Week segment and, of course, the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast 86.
Hey everybody, it's Hall of Famer Devon Dudley here. And when I'm not putting people through tables or testifying, I am listening to one of the greatest podcasts in the world. We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check it out. Testify.
Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Donnie, Gins, and the Load Rager Ben, are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now. We're back, and every week here on the We Are Wrestling podcast, we do this thing called the Comment of the Week. And if you want to get your comment featured on a future episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, all you have to do is just leave a comment over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel or on the social media pages, which this week, for the first time, we have a comment over on the Instagram page as our comment of the week, and it is at the Run-In Podcast, which, they're another, wrestling podcast like us in the same area. And,
The boys.
they're also, partners with Blitzkrieg Pro. And honestly, I really like this comment a lot that they, put on, I believe it was one of our empty AEW posts that we usually do once a week over on the Instagram. Here's what they said, and I quote, "Think they need to do smaller arenas like WWE in the mid-90s. They went from BU to the Garden near us and didn't even sell out the Garden. Stay with those small arenas for now, create a buzz." What's your thoughts on that take from the Run-In Podcast?
Not wrong. That's a solid fucking bounce back and a rebound, man. That's a way to. That's a solution. Tony Khan, no matter what it is, again, everybody knows this, so he has a habit of dick measuring 24/7. So he wants to have almost WWE like capacity in such a short amount of time. And it's embarrassing. You have to stay humble. You really do. And it's unfortunate because you could, one, be saving so much money on production. You could be making the sets and the entrance ramps fucking golden. I mean, like, dude, TNA, they have a fucking small capacity little
Universal
place that they do.
Studios, Orlando,
That's
Florida.
what I'm fucking saying,
Back
dude.
in
And
05.
it works. It doesn't have to be this monstrous fucking arena every single time. It doesn't have to be that
It's
way.
all about the atmosphere.
Yeah, you start off small and you get big. The grind is real, man. Just because you got money doesn't mean you know how to fucking use it. So, exactly. And that's the biggest issue that there is.
Yeah, and
So
I think that
I agree.
a brilliant take by the Run-In Podcast, man.
Absolutely.
And I think that, with, these arenas like AEW, I think for like their specials on, TV, like, the Blood and Guts, and obviously like Winter is Coming, Grand Slam, do those in bigger arenas. But for the regular shows, go in smaller venues, because AEW crowds, and I've been to multiple AEW Dynamites and Collisions, the crowd is fucking hot. And if
Hell
you put
yeah.
them in a smaller building, it's going to generate more on television. Because that's the thing, like when people are watching on TV, sometimes the energy, the vibe of the show gets you more excited to watch it. And with AEW, like I said, the last few weeks, going back to 2019, like it was, the lights were on and like, the crowd was so electric. And like nowadays, like it's just dark. Like our We Are Wrestling podcast, we have the neon colors for a reason. We want it to pop. And like with AEW Dynamite, it doesn't pop like it used to.
Nope.
And I think that, like a smaller arena, they need to do it. Like some of the best shows happen in the smaller arenas, like TNA with Universal Studios, WWE. Like they used to have, some shows in smaller, arenas. NXT, Full Sail University. That's the best example right there.
You're preaching
Nothing
to the
else
choir,
to say. But congratulations to the Run-In Podcast on the comment of the week. So guys, if you want, to get yourself featured here on the We Are Wrestling podcast, go leave a comment over on our social medias, at We Are Wrestling, or over on our YouTube page. But with that being said, let's dive into the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors for the We Are Wrestling Podcast 86. So, our first topic here, WWE is struggling to get Bobby Lashley over as a heel. At live events and TV tapings, the fans refuse to boo him. What's your thoughts on this, and what should they do with Lashley?
The dude is not heel material, man. He has way too much of a soft-spoken ass voice, and it's unfortunate because he's a huge fucking guy. I don't know. There's just sometimes there's just a superstar that just cannot perform as the opposite of what they're good at, and that's okay. You just have to find ways around it, find ways to recreate, reproduce, and just find a way to make it have longevity. Not everybody can play a bad guy without fucking effort. Dirty Dom, great fucking heel. Right off that, he sucks dick as a fucking face right now. Well, his heel work, my God, one of the most heated dudes in the industry.
Yes.
But he can't do face work. Bobby Lashley, a great fucking face, cannot be a heel to save his fucking life unless he has a mouthpiece.
Which, that's what I was going to get into. MVP in the Hurt Business. That was when Lashley was
his peak,
striving
bro.
as a heel. And now, like, you pair him up with the Street Profits, who you cannot get these guys over as heels because they're just natural born baby faces. Like, the crowd, they love to sing to their theme song. They love to vibe with them. And they're just so high flying and charismatic. People don't want to boo them. So having Lashley paired up with a popular tag team like the Street Profits, that's not helping his case. And of course, this, Hurt Business 2.0 thing, it's not really working out as well with, the whole Lashley and the Street Profits. It worked at the time with MVP because MVP knows how to get under people's skin. And I think with Lashley, he's just very popular with the fans. He is larger than life. And I just think that, SmackDown, they already have so many solid heels. It's time to make Bobby Lashley a babyface and have him start putting over some of these heels. Cough, cough, Karrion Kross. There's some money to be made there. And I think that Lashley right now is just better off being a babyface than a heel.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's really not much more we can really say about that.
It's just
if you watch SmackDown,
blunt.
Yeah,
if you know,
and I highly encourage the fans to continue to, rally against WWE and have Lashley turn as a babyface. But moving on now to the next topic we have here. Okada could be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling for either WWE or AEW in early 2024 when his contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling expires, which would be a notable loss to the Japan promotion and a major gain for the company he signs with. According to Meltzer, WWE has a lot of interest in Okada for years, but they do believe that maybe there's a better chance of getting him now than before, and maybe there is. What's your thoughts on Okada coming to WWE? Which I do want to let you guys know, Ben and I, we do not have, a lot of knowledge when it comes to New Japan stuff. And I did send Ben a highlight reel of Okada, which I don't know if you watched that or not.
I did. And the dude is fucking clean.
And before we give our thoughts here, oh baby,
I've been waiting for this.
One of the most popular We Are Wrestling segments of all time now.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy. Ricky knows best. Yes. Ricky knows best, guys. So our good buddy Ricky, who, usually joins us for all of, the live watch-alongs and stuff. He has a lot of knowledge when it comes to, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, man, he is here to spit some facts. Where's the lies? So, Ben, we gotta, get some knowledge here on Okada. And what better way to get, some knowledge than listening to our buddy Ricky on Ricky Knows Best?
Let's get it. Let's go, Ricky. Let's go, Ricky. What you got for me, Ricky?
Ricky Knows Best.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
It's me, Ricky Williams.
God, I love this new segment. I'm
not mad at that.
No, Ricky! Bullshit!
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
It's me, Ricky Williams. What's up? Shout out We Are Wrestling.
Oh my God. My man.
Ben, shout out to them. I was asked a question the other day. My thoughts on Okada going WWE, leaving New Japan. I highly advise against it. I do not want to see it happen. I am a New Japan guy. I do not want to see Okada get mistreated over there. Well, I'm not going to say mistreated, but I do not want to see him get misused over there.
He's been ranting.
He's a high-profile main event talent.
Yeah, I know.
One of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time. One of the greatest, if not arguably the greatest Japanese pro wrestler. Well, he is like the final boss.
The final boss.
Every game you can think of, low-key.
It's a Mortal Kombat.
But overall, I do not want to see Okada go to WWE or AEW. They're going to misuse him. I'm not going to say buried because it's just... I don't want to use that word and come off like a hater. But he's going to get misused over there. But Triple H's booking lately, when it comes to Japanese wrestlers, Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Zane's return with damage controls actually been kind of solid. But then I look at Shinsuke, and he's had a main event run, but he's never won the world title. And I think putting Okada, he's going to get lost in the mix. I don't really see it. I don't really see him flourishing over there. I'd rather him stay with New Japan, help build up the young guys, put them over if he has to. Even though Okada's done everything over there in New Japan, I think he still has a lot more to do. I want to see him retire over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, that's just my opinion. Like, I just don't want to see him anywhere else. And then I'm sorry, like I said, I'm not being a hater or anything like that, but I do not want to see Okada anywhere else. I'd rather him stay with New Japan. That's my personal opinion. Because as a New Japan guy that watches New Japan Pro Wrestling a lot, I refuse to see somebody with Okada's caliber go anywhere else.
Ricky knows best.
Make it feel odd or different or weird.
And that's the bottom line.
Let me know what you guys think.
Oh, we're gonna.
Ricky knows best.
Ricky knows best!
Let's go! Let's go!
Ricky Williams.
The intro again, let's go.
Let's go! Roll the
I'm not
credits.
mad at that.
Ricky is a fucking legend. Bullshit. We need one of these every week. We need one of these once a
Ricky
week.
Williams.
Oh boy. Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Wow, that was
lit.
fantastic.
That
Guys,
was lit.
let us know your thoughts on Ricky Knows Best. Honestly, if it was me, my choice, I would have Ricky Knows Best every week here on the podcast.
That'd be
this
fun.
is great.
Yeah,
This
that'd
is
be
great
fun.
shit. But Ben, man, we heard what Ricky had to say about Okada. You know, he doesn't want him to leave New Japan. Don't fix something that's not broken. What's your thoughts on this?
I don't know, but I can kind of see where he's coming from because in Japan, dude, he looks like he's larger than fucking life, dude. I watched that entire
Rainmaker.
fucking reel. The dude is insane in the ring. Like, I can understand their interest of Okada for years. Like, I can definitely understand that just by that reel alone. However, language barrier is big. His match with AJ Styles was fucking insane. He's had multiple bouts with Kenny Omega. You know, it's just he feels larger than life over there. But coming over to
Forbidden Door with
WWE,
Bryan
you know,
Danielson, too.
exactly, WWE, a worldwide promotion, you know, where that's good for WWE, it could be a career ruiner for, you know, Okada and for his caliber, and it could stain things. And I don't want that for anybody, but you know, have him come over there. You know, you got him and AJ Styles getting rehashed again. You got him and fucking Shinsuke going at it. But where else can you go from there? You know, and it's just, I don't want to see fatigue and, you know, somebody as legendary apparently as Okada again being lost in the shuffle.
And I don't want, and I'm going to say this right now. Obviously, you know, I'm like a huge AEW fan. Even though the last couple of weeks it may seem like, you know, I'm not really a fan of what's going on, which, you know, I'm not. I see the potential there, but I don't want Okada going to AEW because I don't want him to be that shiny new toy for a couple months and then, you know, get lost in the shuffle. And you're going to be surprised by this, but Ricky, usually you know what's best, but in this case, I have to totally disagree with what he's saying here because Okada is a legend in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And what else is there realistically for him to do over there? He's been there, for years, and he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer in, New Japan.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, with Triple H running creative, I really think that he's not going to fumble Okada. And I think that he's going to make him feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not going to be, the Hulk Hogan of, WWE like he is in New Japan. But I think that, under Triple H, I believe that he can make Okada feel like $1,000,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, him going to WWE, I am not against it because it's something new. And obviously, like a lot of, diehard pro wrestling fans, we all know who Okada is. But now, a lot of the US, wrestling fans don't really know him as much, the casuals.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's time for Okada to get that big payday, go to AEW or WWE and let's cook. Because right now, I think, under Triple H, he's done a fantastic job with a lot of these, international stars. And I think that, with Okada, I think that they can make it work.
Yeah.
But he is a talented individual, and I think wherever he goes, he's going to strive. And honestly, I'm somebody who doesn't watch, New Japan, but I do know that they have a lot of legends over there. And I think that New Japan, they need to continue to start building more young stars. And I think that, guys like Will Ospreay, Okada, it's time for them to, move on. Will Ospreay signed with AEW. He's going to be joining them, after his contract's up with New Japan in February. I think that would be great to see Okada in WWE. And, do some stuff with Shinsuke, AJ Styles, maybe even, Karrion Kross. I think that there's a lot of cool, scenarios that they can do.
A lot of avenues.
But we're going to have to wait and see. But honestly, I do see, what Ricky is saying, even though I do disagree. But Ricky does know best, guys. He still knows best.
Yes, sir.
Moving on now to our next, topic here. WWE and Ken Shamrock have come to terms on a new WWE Legends deal. So WWE posted new Ken Shamrock merchandise over on WWE Shop. What's your thoughts on Ken Shamrock signing a brand new Legends deal?
That'd be kind of dope. We haven't really seen Ken Shamrock in WWE since the fucking Attitude Era. So, I mean, this long, away and coming back to some new talent, and it's going to be interesting. 100%. It's going to be different. And, at his age of 59, there's definitely no championship in that contract. I don't see a lot of in-ring shit.
Well, pretty much a lot of the Legends deal stuff, pretty much like WWE, like what it is usually, they have, the rights to Ken Shamrock. So if they want him for one of those old school Monday Night Raws, they can book him. He gets a solid, paycheck. He gets merchandise. He's going to get toys, wrestling figures, all that good stuff. Documentaries, they're probably going to have him, do stuff, doing the bump, other things like that.
Yeah.
Here's, what I want from Ken Shamrock, man, because in the Attitude Era, he was easily one of my top 3, favorite wrestlers of all time.
He was one of my favorite people to play as in fucking the Raw game I had back in the 90s on fucking N64. Yeah, man.
Dude, with Ken Shamrock, I want him as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. The dude is in incredible shape, and I honestly want to see a stare down with Shamrock and Brock Lesnar. That is fucking money right there.
Okay.
I just think that would be so cool. And to see Ken Shamrock, suplex somebody and then put them in the ankle lock, that would be just such a cool Royal Rumble moment. And it's possible. And I'm kind of excited about this too, because with, WWE, when they do these Legends nights and stuff, it's always the same people every time. So now, bringing in a guy like Ken Shamrock, that's pretty cool. That's new. So I'm honestly excited about that.
Yeah, man.
But moving on now to the next topic we have here. Chris Jericho recently did a podcast interview with Chris Van Vliet on Insight. Jericho isn't interested in being in the WWE Hall of Fame and stated this, and I quote, "I always like going against the grain. Like, I loved it when Axl Rose didn't show up to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and sent a note saying, not only am I not showing up, but you're not allowed to say my name. I love that shit. Like, that's fucking rock and roll, man. So I don't really understand the point of a Hall of Fame. If you think I'm in it, that's great. There's no real Hall of Fame. It's all kind of WWE's mind and their chamber of the mind. And I mean, it doesn't really matter if I'm in it or not. You go up there and give some approved speech where you have 5 minutes to fucking acknowledge 33 years because I was a Hall of Famer. Because I was at the Hall of Fame when we had Hillbilly Jim talking for 45 minutes. Fucking hell, dude. You were on Saturday Night Main Event once. You don't have a lot to say. Nothing against Hillbilly Jim. Yeah, he's a cool guy, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And then you get the freaking Undertaker, and he gets 15 minutes. I'm not interested in that at this point. And like I said, it's not a disrespectful thing. It's just like, I don't really see the benefits of it. And I kind of like doing things the opposite way. What's your thoughts on the WWE Hall of Fame and, Jericho's, opinion on it? And what should WWE do to add more value to being considered a Hall of Famer?
Stop putting outsiders in it, number one. Because it's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now. There's artists that aren't even rock and roll artists that are in it. And it's, what's the point of being a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or a WWE Hall of Fame if it's people that on the outside that are in it, except for, people that have added to the organization I could get. So sponsors, heads of certain charity organizations, I can understand that. But celebrities like Drew Carey,
That's
it makes no sense. It's like
the
clowns.
Warrior Award, I do love that they do
100%. I like that too. But just celebrities, mindless celebrities.
Dog.
Anybody that has not laced their fucking boots in a ring for an ample amount of time and has accomplished anything should not be in the Hall of Fame. It should be singled out. It should be an accomplishment for something that you worked for a company that you gave literally your body for. That's what really miffs me. So honestly, I have to agree 100% with Jericho. I think that he belongs in the Hall of Fame, but if he doesn't want it and they don't nominate him, I'm not mad because realistically, it's not as a big deal as it used to be. It used to be an exciting thing because you knew that the next day was WrestleMania. You knew that a lot of people that you loved are making appearances again after so fucking long, giving speeches, getting their flowers. It used to be exciting, and now it's kind of a fucking joke, and it's unfortunate.
And I think that one of the biggest things that WWE does need to do when it comes to the Hall of Fame, Jericho, I know there's a lot of people that, say, oh, he's just, bashing WWE because he's getting that Tony Khan money. In this case, I think Jericho actually has a valid point. Where is the Hall of Fame? There is no visual Hall of Fame. When it comes to sports, the Basketball Hall of Fame, we live in Springfield, Mass.
Yeah.
And, there's a whole Hall of Fame there where they acknowledge, all the greats. And we're not seeing, any of the cheerleaders in there. We're not seeing the mascots getting inducted. It's the best.
It's exclusive.
Of the best. Exclusive, exactly. And of course, the NFL, they have a Hall of Fame for the best football players.
That's what
baseball, all of these sports do. And WWE, they don't. They just do, a whole little ceremony thing, which back in the day, they actually, had its own, arena show. It wasn't immediately after SmackDown and then they take the ropes off the ring.
No.
It actually had a nice podium, a nice stage.
Yeah.
And it actually felt important.
It did feel
and
important.
It's unfortunate because WWE, they are the number one in this sport.
How do you not have a physical Hall of Fame?
Especially
with
when
you
the
have such
company
a
is the
fat
most
warehouse.
profitable it's ever been. Use some of that Saudi money. Make a Hall of Fame like, and that's the thing too that does kind of grind my gears.
The
And it does kind of
warehouse.
tie in with the Hall of Fame. Yes, the warehouse, because they
Put the
did the
fist
show.
on the outside.
Do you
Fuck.
remember? Do you remember the show that they did on A&E?
Yes, yeah, I do.
Top Dollar was the host of.
Yes,
It was like the
I know.
Treasures.
Yes, it was yeah.
So the whole point of the show is you're buying, rare one-of-one items from people that, they want to bring back, into their warehouse and, display it. Where the fuck is it being displayed? Literally, what? WrestleMania Access? Whoopee! Like,
You said WrestleMania
they're
Access.
like, why can't we have like an actual Hall of Fame or like a museum for like all of this cool shit? It's just collecting dust, and it's so frustrating.
It really is, man. I just like I would love a physical Hall of Fame because, dude, I would make it a point to go. And I feel like if the Hall of Fame should be anywhere, it should be in Orlando or Stamford, Connecticut.
Fuck Orlando, Stanford, so we don't have to get on a plane.
Get that selfish beast in us, boy.
Yeah, we're being a little biased here. We want it closer to us, so we're voting for Stanford. Hey, the headquarters of WWE is being moved now to Florida, so I think that we can turn that building into the museum.
So at least Vince can kick his feet up and retire in the hot sun.
Yeah, Vince McMahon can just chill on like Eddie Guerrero's like lowrider. And they could keep his gym in there too. Like, that's a cool little, exhibit. All right, we're getting way off topic here. All I know is Jericho is not delusional for once, with these comments here. But
he's been fairer and fairer to WWE recently.
He has been pretty fair. And I think that a lot of people, this whole AEW WWE war thing just needs to stop.
We could hit that fucking same button repeatedly, but it's not gonna fucking change. It's really not.
Thank you for like stopping me before I go on like a 50-minute.
You would have gone another. Yeah, dude. Because dude,
we're on really good time here for the podcast.
We're fucking killing it, but man, like I understand having to run in circles because that's all it's gonna be, man.
It's always gonna be that way. But up next, we have the Getting Put Over segment, which we're gonna be putting over Eddie Guerrero, and of course the main event topic. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast 86.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Collecting has always had a special place in my heart, going all the way back to when I was a kid. I remember my parents taking me to Toys R Us and waking up on Christmas morning to a bunch of new action figures. I had bins filled with thousands of rare WWE, WCW, ECW, and TNA figures through the years until, unfortunately, I ended up selling my whole childhood without knowing the true value of my collection. 2 years after I made that horrible decision, the pandemic hit, and I realized there was a part of me that felt missing, and that was collecting. My whole life, I have loved collecting wrestling figures, wrestling memorabilia, classic video games, Nickelodeon stuff, sneakers, Funko Pops, and even Angry Birds. As time went by, I decided I wanted to get back into collecting, except this time, document it and rebuild my collection over on Best One Donnie. So, if you want to go back into time and relive my nostalgic memories, subscribe now. And before we get into the Getting Put Over segment, I do want to, bring up that, today, as, the podcast does come out, I am going to be out in Albany, New York, meeting once again the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and I'm going to be getting some more, memorabilia signed from him. So, guys, I will be, doing a little haul over on my personal channel there, Best One Donnie, where I do a bunch of toy, videos and stuff. Just wanted to plug that. But every week on, the We Are Wrestling Podcast, we do this thing called the Getting Put Over segment, where every week, Ben and I, we alternate and we pick one superstar, past, present, or future, and we put that star over. Last week, it was supposed to be Eddie, but we decided to trade, and we put over R-Truth because we were very excited about him eating jelly rolls on the Judgment Day's couch. But this week, we are going to be putting over Eddie Guerrero, which is my choice now because it is my week. And, I was going to pick R-Truth, but Ben, decided to, pick R-Truth last week. So I told him I'd pick Eddie Guerrero. So Ben, where do we begin with Eddie Guerrero?
Man, what a talent. First of all, another career cut, tragically short. And unfortunately, we just lost Bray Wyatt back in August. And of course, of the same kind of issue, heart failure, a heart attack, cardiac arrest. It's a very awful thing, and it's unfortunate because both had so much gas in the tank and had a potential of a lifetime. But what they've accomplished in such a short amount of time that they were alive is lifelong, man. Which is why, it just, every time I see an Eddie match now, it's goosebumps because he's so good. He was so fucking good. He was smooth as butter in the ring. The dude had it, and it's kind of nice seeing Dominic really take that over, and he's killing it. Even in the terms of his selling, his moveset, it just Dom, man.
When it comes to that, I will say, I do see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the charisma, nobody had it like Eddie. I think
that
Dom,
dude,
once he gets that, then the comparisons that could really begin.
My guy,
because Eddie's energy, nobody had that. And when you talk about larger than life, that's one of the first people I think of is Eddie Guerrero,
bro.
Literally,
bro. Eddie Guerrero had the untouchable swagger that nobody has ever been able to replicate. That dude just fucking in his charm, man. The dude had you compelled the entire time he was on screen, for good or bad. The dude was killer, and he was amidst a great face turn at the time of his unfortunate death. And, he was pumping out some of the best work in his career. We had fresh out of the Dom and fucking Ray storyline over custody, which is one of my favorite matches. Yep. That is one of my favorite matches of all time in my Eddie Guerrero, fucking mind vault, And unfortunately, there's not a lot of those moments that I still, can absolutely grasp anymore. And it's unfortunate because it was so long ago, 20 years almost, man. And just a little under 2 years, it'll be 20 years ago since he passed away. And I remember being just fucking shook because I loved Eddie Guerrero. Some of his moments with Batista backstage where Batista took his fucking food away from him. Fucking hilarious because I felt that. I felt that in my bones, man. And it's just... there hasn't been anybody as innovative as Eddie, And
of course,
it just...
Yeah. With Eddie Guerrero, he's, been all over the world, his career, going into, the early 90s, wrestling, all over Mexico and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then, getting that big break in WCW in their cruiserweight division, which, now is being acknowledged a lot more than it used to be. Because obviously at the time, they were putting over the NWO, the Hollywood Hulk Hogan's, the Macho Mans. And, the cruiserweights like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko were being slept on. And Eddie Guerrero really showed what he can do in that time. One of my favorite matches of all time was Halloween Havoc. And I know that's, one of those, basic answers, but him versus Ray at that show in 97,
dude, that fucking show was
incredible.
Insane, dude. The selling in that fucking match, dude, just the high spots, man. Oh god, it was built different.
Perfect.
That match was ahead of its time.
And then of course, going into the end of the 90s, we got to see Eddie Guerrero debut with fellow WCW stars Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and Chris Benoit, the Radicals. And then of course Eddie Guerrero worked his way from the bottom to the top. And then, he won himself some Intercontinental Champions, U.S. Champions, Tag Team Champions, and even the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar, No Way Out 2004. And, went on to just having such a legendary career that was cut short.
And it's unfortunate because right as he, again, had his unfortunate death, he was about to work into a fucking world heavyweight
Yeah,
championship
wasn't he like
angle.
supposed to like win
Him
the
and
World Heavyweight
Batista.
Championship
Him
at
and
Survivor Series, right?
I think so, somewhere around there.
'Cause I know he
And they
lost
were
to him at
building.
No Mercy.
Yeah, they were building up to it. And because Eddie was fucking stacked by the time he passed away, dude. You saw how fucking ripped he was and how fucking huge Eddie was. Like, he was not a small dude.
Oh no.
Like, height wise, maybe, but not body wise. That dude was a body guy by the end of his shit. And, it's unfortunately we didn't get to see it happen because he would have been a Grand Slam champion right there.
Yeah, big time.
And I hate it,
And, with Eddie Guerrero, let's talk about some of those, matches that were, fantastic. I know we can go on for hours, talking about it, but let's talk about some of the ones that really, stuck with us.
Ray and Eddie, SummerSlam 05, custody for Dominic. And I remember, obviously, I'm 9 years old, but I'm absolutely sold in this. Like, I believe this is actually happening. I believe that Dom might be going home with Eddie, and I'm freaking the fuck out because I put myself in his shoes, and I would be freaking the fuck out. So I'm just like, dude, that's when WWE was like believable to me. Like, I believed everything happening on the screen.
I love how I
was
have
so
that
naive.
Dom figure now in my collection. I love that Mattel did that.
Yeah,
So
man. That was a great match. I loved the finish of one of his last matches with Ken Kennedy,
that was his very last match in his career.
Yeah, and even so, phenomenal match. His tag team matches with Batista, there's so much that you can go
dude, you
on.
can't sleep on him and Chavo, man.
No, him and Chavo was fucking great.
That was some great comedy stuff they did there. And a
Hell
great
yeah.
tag team championship run too in 03.
Mhm.
But some of like the matches that really stand out to me when it comes to Eddie Guerrero, obviously him and Rey Mysterio, anytime they stepped in the ring, WrestleMania 21, when they both were the tag champs and they went against each other to kind of build the seeds there. That was really good. I also really enjoyed WrestleMania 20, Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. I thought that was a great match. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. I think my favorite matches with Eddie Guerrero, it has to be with JBL. That
Yeah.
feud in 2004.
That was a
I
heavy-hitting
believe they had
match,
a
bro.
match at Judgment Day where, JBL won. But the
Yes.
match that really stood out to me with Eddie and JBL was the Great American Bash 2004 when they had, I think it was the Texas Bull Rope match.
Yes. That match was fucking
So
insane.
good. That was such a great pay-per-view too.
Yeah, dude. Then that match, man, can really absolutely like provide some color.
But dude, Eddie Guerrero and JBL, that feud was fantastic because that was
Phenomenal.
like the best way to really, make JBL, become the biggest villain on the SmackDown brand at that time. And I think Eddie, did a fantastic job putting him over in this. And honestly, I really enjoyed a lot of that. Him and John Cena in 2003. I remember the parking lot brawl match. That was a, really fun match that they had.
God, parking lot brawl, man. You're bringing me back to fucking SmackDown versus Raw.
Him and Chris Benoit, anytime them two were in the ring, that was gold.
It was always gold, man, because they had such chemistry already outside of the ring. So, I mean, you can fucking craft a phenomenal match between their styles, man.
And then, of course, another match I do have to acknowledge because Eddie was so good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
Eddie versus RVD, man. Some of those
phenomenal, dude. That fucking match was incredible.
That was Raw. That was so good.
Yeah, man.
Have to acknowledge that. And there's even like this really cool match like you could actually look back at because there was a time where I think it was 2002 where Eddie Guerrero got released by WWE for a little bit. And he actually did some work, in Ring of Honor. Yeah. And he actually was in a match with I think it was him versus Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk.
Yeah, that fucking match was awesome. I've seen that match, dude, and it's to see it. It was incredible. Eddie fucking Guerrero versus CM Punk. It happened at one point, and CM Punk can say that he has had a match with Eddie Guerrero, and it was a good one.
So fucking cool.
That whole match, dude, was just, I could watch that match over and over and over again, man. Like, 20 years ago, who cares? But it happened. It's not a dream what-if scenario. It fucking happened. So if you really want to know what that's like, you can go check it out. It's incredible.
So now, obviously,
blessing.
we have to put over, the character Eddie Guerrero because he's done
Yes.
so much iconic segments.
Holy
He's done
fuck.
so much iconic stuff that still to this day, the whole, the lying, the cheating, the stealing, people do that chair spot all the time where, Eddie Guerrero, hits the person, he hits himself with the chair, knocks himself out, throws the chair to the other guy, and he gets DQ'd. Like, that is a spot that Eddie Guerrero invented.
Exactly. And that's what I said. His legacy still lives to this day, man. You just got to look for it and keep your eye out for it. One of my favorite...
cheat, steal, I'm your poppy shirts.
One of my favorite
God,
segments of Eddie Guerrero, and this is probably my favorite just because of how just casual it was and how grounded it was, Royal Rumble 05 when he stole Ric Flair's number. That is one of my favorite segments, if not my favorite.
That Eddie did that were so good.
It was so casual. It was so fucking casual because you didn't see it fucking coming at all. And then Ric Flair fucking like, yeah, check it out. And then all of a sudden he turns the camera and looks and just freaks the fuck out. Like, it just, oh God, little shit, man. The little seeds that you plant blossoms into a full circle moment if you do it right. And Eddie was spot on every single fucking time. Dude never missed.
Some of my favorite segments with Eddie Guerrero has got to be with China back in the Attitude Era. I love what they did there with them. And we're kind of getting that, on WWE TV today with Dirty Dom and Rhea. And I love what they're doing. And, it's fantastic, some of those segments, back in the day. And Eddie, man, he treated China like shit during that time. But such a great deal. But man, Eddie Guerrero, one of the greatest of all time. And honestly, I'm when it comes to Eddie Guerrero's theme song too, one of my favorite ones. I know a lot of people, it's the I lie, I cheat, I steal. I loved his last theme song, the gangster one.
Yeah.
And it had the can you feel the heat? Great shit.
Yeah, man.
But anything else, with Eddie Guerrero that you want to put over before we close the segment off?
If there's an afterlife, if it's really true, I can't wait to see those banger matches in person. I can't wait to see those banger matches, some Bray Wyatt versus fucking Eddie Guerrero matches, man. Oh, God. It must be a rocking place.
Man, Eddie Guerrero, my final things I do want to say,
Phenomenal
one of
talent.
the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
Ever do
I
it.
think that, when you think of the word larger than life, brass ring, Eddie Guerrero is one of the first people that come to my mind when, you think of those terms, because
Every
he
time.
really had it. And during a time where it was about, the super heavyweights and, the heavyweights.
Where it was hard time to get over.
It was a very hard time to get over. Eddie Guerrero did it. He believed in himself and, he got over with the crowd. And, still to this day, I think that he has the best frog splash.
Oh, absolutely. The only other person that really can, other than RVD, I will say it, Dom. Dom fucking kills the frog splash. Kills it now. The dude is so comfortable. I watched fucking Randy Orton's Impulsive episode, front to back. And I
have not listened to that yet. And
I watched it. It's phenomenal. You're going to really enjoy your time, man. The hour and some change really does fly. It really does. It's fleeting, so enjoy it. We're going to have to send him away. He's going to got another 10 years so he can fucking do this. And now he's just like, something clicked and Dom fucking...
guys.
Yeah, he fucking messaged, he texted Dom and Ray, after Dom turned on fucking Ray and was just like, he was so proud. He was happy. And then when he got into the ring with them in the Survivor Series, he was like, I texted your dad right after because I know your dad's watching. He's proud. He's watching at home. And it's insane. He was like, yeah, Dom has it now. He grasped it. Something clicked, and now he has it. And he's talking about how he couldn't be more proud.
Man, proud of him.
And that's 100%. What I'm saying, man. If there's anybody that's really carrying on Eddie's legacy, even indirectly, it's Dom.
Dominic Mysterio.
And he has one of the best frog splashes of all time because of that.
Absolutely.
I have to give him flowers, man.
This week, we put over the legend, Eddie freaking Guerrero. And next week, Ben, it is your decision. Are you going to, spoil it, or are we going to have to wait for next week for the Getting Put Over segment?
We could spoil it.
Are you going to give us a big name, or are you going to give us somebody that's
I'm just
actually
gonna drop
underrated?
it. I'm just gonna drop it.
Alrighty, drop
We
it,
are
baby.
putting over, ladies and gentlemen, the best in the world, CM Punk.
Dude, this is going to be like 30 minutes of putting him over. I have so
CM
much
Punk.
I have to say.
And there's if you rewind this podcast a year ago, you could see how sick of fucking CM Punk I was and just did not want to talk about him. But next week, we're going to be putting over CM Punk for the Getting Put Over segment.
All right, well, that's Ben. I like this. Okay, I'm interested.
Yep.
So, guys, we hope you enjoyed the Getting Put Over segment. Eddie Guerrero. Next week, CM Punk, the best in the world. And don't worry, the week after, I'm going to pick somebody that's, an oddball that's underrated.
All right. I feel like if there's a time to do it, it's now. So I'm going to hit that switch before it's too late. So
Of course.
I'll take
I
it.
respect that before, all this positivity goes down.
Yeah, let's praise them all we can.
Alrighty, well, with that being said, let's dive into the main event topic for the We Are Wrestling Podcast 86.
Let's go.
And believe it or not, for once, it's not Roman Reigns or CM Punk.
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
Yeah.
it is one of your favorite, tag teams of all time.
Yep.
The Hardys. And apparently they're unhappy with AEW right now, especially Jeff. On the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy's podcast, they both talked about their lack of booking in AEW. During his last run, so with Jeff Hardy, during his last run with WWE, he felt like a ghost, just walking around backstage, and currently he feels this way in AEW right now. The Hardys believe they deserve to be involved with something cool. Jeff was pretty excited when he first came to AEW. That excitement has, gone down. What's your thoughts on AEW not pushing the Hardy Boys right now?
I mean, I would be at fault to not say that Jeff has ruined a lot of opportunities. And
you see, that's
I'm not
like
saying
what
that disrespectfully.
Here's the thing, though. That's like what I was going to kind of, talk about a little bit, too, because I have been, reading, fans and their thoughts on it. And
It's not
there's
good.
two sides to it.
There is.
One
And
side, they're pretty much saying that, AEW, it's Tony Khan. Like, they're like, the toy is a little dusty now. Like, it's not his new toy. But then there's the other side that's saying, well, Jeff was getting a push before, that incident happened at that, autograph signing.
yeah.
And, he kind of like lost a lot of momentum there.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Jeff's kind of notorious for ruining a lot of opportunities, and it's like, can we depend on this guy? And I can understand that side, but then again, Tony Khan does have a overstacked fucking roster in a million storylines that he can't fucking maneuver himself. It's getting a little better with Danielson being a little bit more, in control as well, because the dude has the mind for the business. But at the same time,
Danielson,
it's still
I didn't make this a topic, but I do want to just say something real quick.
okay.
I love that Tony Khan is having Bryan Danielson give wrestlers fines for, going on social media and, pretty much bashing AEW. I like how he's letting Danielson put his foot down, and I'm glad that Danielson's being a good friend of TK. You can continue.
Yeah, in a world where everybody's kind of against him, but fuck it.
Except for Danielson.
Yeah, Danielson is, a TK homie right now, but either or.
His best friend. They're having sleepovers.
They braid each other's hair. I gotta say though, I don't know. I don't know, man. I think that Jeff has really ruined, opportunities, but at the same time, overstacked roster, and you can't really expect anything more. I think that it would be time to go back to WWE, but at the same time, I don't know when their contracts expire, or they've, signed extensions or anything, or I don't know, man. What did you expect? What did you really expect when you went there? Matt was on a roll for a little bit, I will say. Matt was involved in some pretty cool shit. But Jeff came in, and he ruined it for both of them, I feel like. And it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate. And I love Jeff. Jeff is literally one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, arguably on my Mount Rushmore. But, man, you got to keep it the fuck together. You got to prove it. You got to fucking want it. You got to bust some fucking doors down and tell Tony Khan what's up. Like, but you got to show
That
it
is
in
one
some
thing about
way.
Jeff Hardy, though. Like, throughout his career, he's always stayed under the radar. Like, he doesn't really speak up about, his frustrations and stuff. And I feel like that is, a problem with him because he lets it build up. And then he did like what he did in WWE at that live event, just jumped in the crowd and just walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he let it build up to that point. And I always say this, just in life in general, communication is key. But then again, like, we don't know if Jeff and Matt, have, talked to Tony Khan yet, or if they, just went on this podcast and just, shoot the shit.
Yeah.
We really don't know. I'm sure they have, but Tony Khan, I don't know. This is really tough because I see it from both sides. But here's the thing, and I'm kind of leaning towards, the other side here. If you're not going to trust Jeff Hardy and
Let him go.
just let him go, let Matt go, let them go do what, they want to do and just move on. Like, the Hardy Boys, they are legendary and they're back right now and they both look like they're in great shape. I think that, they shouldn't be wrestling random matches on Rampage. They should be on, Dynamite, doing storylines with some of their homegrown tag teams. Like, we haven't even got a Hardys versus Acclaimed match. That's crazy to me.
That's insane. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, man.
Like, that's the thing about Tony Khan. Like,
there's
he
two
doesn't
sides at
realize,
fault.
Like, they're so legendary that, like, you put him in the ring with whatever tag team, you're going to get people talking about that other tag team more if you put him in the ring with the Hardys. So that's the thing I really don't understand about all of this. And if they're just not going to use them, I would just, honestly, let them go and, finish their careers in TNA or WWE. I think realistically right now, the best move for the Hardys would probably be TNA because I think WWE, they're just way too stacked right now. And I don't know how the Hardys fit in there. Like,
I wouldn't say that.
Like, if the Hardys still have like a year or two, I would do a short-term deal with TNA because obviously they never misused them. So honestly, I would do that. And it would get more eyes on TNA with the new, rebranding. But if they are, deciding that, I think we're just ready to hang up the boots, go to WWE, have that one final match, and, end it the right way.
But thing is, though, man, I could definitely see them going back to WWE, especially with the talent they have now, especially with CM Punk being back.
With Triple H is creative, too.
They could put over a lot of superstars. Fuck. Excuse me. They could put over a lot of superstars. We could have a lot of fucking banging singles matches. Like, there's so much you could creatively do with them. They could fit, man. And they could bring some pristine to the tag team division, which is kind of struggling still. There's not many tag teams.
Well, the only reason they're struggling is because we have freaking one championship on, both brands, and they don't know what to do.
But yeah, that's what I would do. But, I feel like both sides are at fault here, and there's not much more I could say. There's a solution to everything. We just got to find out when we can do it.
The thing that makes it so unfortunate about, WWE and the Hardys having that last full-time run, I think that it's not possible because Matt Hardy, is a creative individual and, he has a lot of, things that he loves to do outside of the ring, like, his podcast that he, launched last year, The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. He also, loves to do, content as well, which I know when I talked to him, when my buddy Cam met him at the Rhode Island Comic-Con, I was talking about him with the content and, Matt Hardy, like, wants to get back into doing that. And there's, like, Jeff Hardy, he does his music.
Yeah.
And, like, they both have a lot of, things outside of the business that
he also,
in WWE, like, they're not going to be able to do all of the stuff that they're doing now.
Well, here's the thing, though. That's not necessarily the case. WWE is a completely new brand now. there's a lot more leniency. There's a lot more creative control now. Triple H is on board with a lot of shit, like Bray Wyatt coming back was Exhibit A, rest his soul. That was Exhibit A of what was to come. And nobody knew what the fuck Bray was trying to do, but Triple H trusted him and let him cook.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and they let Adam Cole keep his fucking Twitch. I don't see where they would stop them, considering it's nothing infringing. It's their creative juices. So it really resides on the contract, what both sides would, come to agreements on. And honestly,
their
I don't
careers,
see
WWE is the best place to do it.
It would be, and I feel like Triple H would be very open to that negotiation and contracting because, dude, it's just literally video content. That's it, and it's a podcast.
And here's the thing, about AEW, like I was saying, honestly, the perfect time that they could have had the Hardys do something, you could have done, you could have had them in a segment with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Because obviously, both of the two, hate each other right now, storyline wise. And you could have had the Hardys, try to get these two together and, have a fun match or something. There's ways that they could have done it. And it's so disappointing seeing the Hardys just wrestle random matches. And I think in AEW, they're kind of going in a new direction.
It's weird.
We talked about, last week on the podcast with the New Japan style, where they're more focusing on the pro wrestling stuff in the ring than, the characters and the storylines. And that's why I think the Hardys, they're kind of fading away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because they're going in a whole new direction that the Hardys, they're mostly known for being larger than life characters.
Mm-hmm.
They just
it's
don't
unfortunate.
fit the 5-star match, thing.
Not anymore. They can't go like they used to. And with more time in between, who knows if we're ever gonna see, an
well, no, when I
Hardys
say the
match
5-star match, it's nothing taking away from their credibility in the ring because
No,
they're
for sure.
fantastic, but their style of in-ring work has always been storytelling and high flying. But with, AEW, when I, talk about a 5-star match, I'm talking about they just do unnecessary bullshit and, they do the holy shit chants, fight forever, this and that, fake finishes after fake finishes, that type of wrestling. The Hardys, they're not that.
No, not at all.
As they, shouldn't be because they're very legendary. But is there anything else before we close off this week's episode of the podcast?
Nah, we covered it all, man. That's an episode.
Before we close off, this week's episode of the podcast, going into 2024, we're going to be having an exclusive Patreon page for We Are Wrestling. We're going to have exclusive podcasts over there. We're going to be doing giveaways every month. And we're even going to be having some throwback vlogs and 2 bonus podcasts a month. And one of the exclusive series that will be returning is Old School versus New School, but you can only get it on the Patreon page. So going into the new year, we're going to be very active on there. We have lots of news coming out within the month of December, so stay tuned for that. If you guys enjoyed this week's episode, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. And if you're watching this, let us know, your thoughts down in the comment section below on everything we talked about this week, whether it's on the social media page, whether it's on, the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. But if you guys haven't subscribed over to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, we have lots of awesome content over there. We just hit 5,000 subscribers, so we do have the MJF Try Not to Laugh compilation 2, which I think is absolutely 2 times hilarious more than the first one. And of course, we have the Big Event New York vlog up on there, and we're going to be bringing back some reactions and lots of awesome content. So if you're not a maniac yet on the YouTube channel, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow myself and Ben over on our social medias and other YouTube pages. All that down below. I do toy videos on mine. Ben, he does music reactions and some gaming stuff, which right now he's on a hiatus, but in 2024, he's not going to be, so that's why you need to subscribe and turn on those notifications.
Yeah,
but of
boy.
course, To all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, I absolutely fucking killed this outro. And of course, you already know, we are taking over. Peace.
Peace, you little pigs. Sleep in it.